Queridos amigos, gracias por estar con nosotros. Esto es Cubículo Estratégico. El día de hoy estamos muy contentos porque tenemos la posibilidad de hacer una entrevista con Elop, quien es el presidente y CEO a nivel mundial de Nokia, una de las corporaciones más importantes en materia de telecomunicaciones en el mundo. Y bueno, pues queremos agradecerle mucho que tenga esta conversación con Milenio. Stephen, how are you?
Very good. Nice to be here.
Thanks for being with us.
My pleasure.
Tell me, Stephen, what has been the most difficult decision for you, for Nokia, over the last 12 months? We understand this is going to be like a very difficult year for you.
Well, it's a very challenging time because we've made some very important decisions about our future strategy. You know, in smartphones, decisions about doing a partnership with Microsoft to create a new line of smartphone products. For our mobile phone products, there's been a series of decisions about how we're going to capture the next billion people who want to connect to the internet. So many difficult decisions, but always in these times, the most difficult decisions are when they affect people, when you maybe have to consolidate a facility or someone loses their job. Those are always the most difficult. You know, business is business, but people are far more close to the heart.
Did you have to leave many people out of the company?
We've had some announcements over the last year where some people have lost their jobs or sites have been consolidated. So those are difficult decisions. But at the same time, the people at Nokia today are more energized, more positive, and more proud of the work that we're doing than in some time. So while it's difficult, at the end of the day, we hope to deliver great results.
Where is Nokia headed now?
So Nokia is a company that works on a global basis, and we're working hard to serve the full range of smartphone customers as well as that next billion, the people who have very limited economic means but want to have a first internet experience. So it's the case today that where we find ourselves is having our first announcements around our new Nokia Lumia products, which are products that we've brought into existence, brand new design, differentiated software. And we're going in a direction now to take that first example and broaden it around the world in different regions. It'll be coming to Latin America here early in the new year, into all of the different areas of the world where we can be successful. So we've got a lot of good work ahead of us.
I was in London when you were deploying these new products.
Oh, so you were at Nokia World with us.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I was there and I saw this Lumia 800, right?
Yes.
So how's this product? Could you describe it for the general public?
I can do even better than that. I can show it. The Lumia 800, first of all, is just a beautiful industrial design. When you put this side by side with all of the other products on the market, it just leaps out at you. It feels great in the hand. It has a beautiful display. In terms of the user interface, though, with our work with Microsoft, we've done something quite different. We believe there's an opportunity for consumers to look and say, there's a different way that I want to interact with a smartphone. So in this case, something that's really important is something called the live tiles, these square elements on the display. Each one of them is alive all of the time, providing you with information that may be of interest to you about your family or your business colleagues or whatever the case may be. And that's quite a different statement than just a grid of application icons that don't do anything. Here the phone is alive and it's bringing you the information you need in your life every day.
I think over the last 2 to 3 years, many people have, especially these analysts of gadgets and everything, they've been struggling to get this, what they call the iPhone killer. Do you think this is it?
So I think that it's not just about a particular, killing a particular device or whatever. What we're doing is creating a whole family of experiences where it's multiple devices, but it's also the hardware, the software, and all of the services around it, things like search and navigation, music, gaming, unified communications, all of these things together. And so when we think about it, it's not about attacking a device or battling device to device. It's a war of ecosystems. So we believe we're building an ecosystem jointly with Microsoft that will be very competitive, and certainly we intend to go after our competitors, quite aggressively.
Yeah, because like people have to choose between devices, right?
They do.
So that's you said previously we're going after the next 1 billion
Yes.
people. How are you going to do that?
So the people who today have never seen the internet probably don't have a mobile device. There's many people like that around the world, but they have the same aspirations that everybody else does. They want a great experience. They want it at very low cost. And so what we've demonstrated historically, and will continue to do, is the ability to bring devices to them that are smarter than perhaps are available today, that bring certain of those capabilities, but at a very low price point. So for example, in India recently, we launched a whole new family of what are known as dual SIM devices. It's a particular technology that's important in the Indian market. And we did such a fine job with beautiful products at very low price points that we saw in the first 90-day quarter of sales, 18 million devices move into the hands of Indian consumers, which is just an amazing result. Here in Mexico, it's very much the case that there are a lot of people who are still looking for their first internet experience. I think there's only about 90 million subscribers on the digital networks here in Mexico today, which means there's many tens of millions still ahead. And our hope is that we can bridge the digital divide for these people so they can have their first internet experience, perhaps get their first bank account, have their first digital identity so that they can participate in the larger economy, more so than has been possible in the past. And for Nokia, that means a lot. It's far more than just selling a device. It's actually about helping to improve people's lives.
What's the name of this device that you are launching also for for this market?
At Nokia World,
yeah,
we launched some first devices in the Nokia Asha family.
The Asha.
So Nokia Lumia is our smartphones, Asha is the mobile phone line, and you'll see more and more. There's a lot of excitement and a lot of new products coming there as well.
Stephen, when you have to negotiate your deals with operators, like large operators like here in Mexico, America
Yes.
Mobile, you know, who's more powerful, the operators of a company like yours?
Neither. It's the consumer, the person buying the phone, who is the most powerful. Because it doesn't matter what we negotiate or what we agree or what we're going to do. When the consumer walks into a store and says, I like that, that carries more weight than anything else we can do. So all of the conversations with operators around the world begin with a review of how does the product look, how will consumers react, testing it with consumers, and if we're doing good work and creating good products, then it becomes a mutual discussion of how can we together sell as much of this as possible. Because our interests are aligned. If there's a good product that can increase volume for an operator and increase volume for us, it's good for both of us. So we tend to not negotiate on a power basis, but more agree on how can we be most successful together because our interests are very well aligned.
Do you have good relationships here in Mexico with the operators?
We do. We have very good relationships here. And I think that our strength in the market, where we have a very good market share in this country, where we've been very competitive, part of that relates to the good relationships we do have with operators, where we work with them very closely, plan products with them, do specific work for those people along the way. That's something that works quite well.
So some people have told me over the last few months that Mexicans don't feel okay when they see large corporations launching these very new products, but they do it just in a few countries, like in the UK or France or Italy or so. And we will be waiting for your phone and other phones over the following few months. Why is that so? Why is that we have to wait and not see just the very same product at the same time?
Because the very same product is not the right product for every market. What we have to make sure is in every country we have the right combination of product, of customer care, of the online marketplace so that applications can be bought that are locally relevant, that we have things aligned with the operators, that it's being done at a time that makes sense in terms of the seasonality of the market. So in every market we have to be thoughtful about when we go into those markets. Now with our Nokia Lumia launch, we very deliberately started with a small number of countries. We wanted to learn, get the first experience, make improvements, and then broaden and broaden and broaden. And that's what 2012 will be about. Latin America very early in 2012. You'll see us entering the United States in the first quarter of 2012, China in the first half of 2012, and many other countries besides. So we're building that up, but we're trying to learn and grow one step at a time.
This is your first time in Mexico, right?
On behalf of Nokia, yes.
Nokia. Now with Nokia, how do you see this country as a market? How do you see the consumers responding to your and other products?
Mexico is an amazing market. There's a good economic circumstance. The economy is in better shape than many other economies around the world. There's a large number of people who are looking for that first digital experience. And yet at the same time, the degree of increasing sophistication of the users is going up dramatically in Mexico. I think of all of the countries we've studied, the pickup of smartphone usage relative to simpler feature phones is going up faster than just about anywhere else in the world. So there's clearly a hunger for that type of technology, and therefore it's a very good market for us. Now, it's not only about selling devices, though, at the same time. I had the opportunity this morning to meet with with a group of developers, people who build applications that run on our phones. And to see the work that's going on in Mexico that reaches the whole world is just amazing. So there's one gentleman from a company known as iNode, and in the last 12 months or so, he has had 35 million copies of his work downloaded in over 200 countries around the world. And that's from work being done here in Mexico. And so part of what I'm learning and have been very impressed with in my visit here is the amount of innovation in Mexico that we'll see around the world. As a further example, I had the opportunity to meet with President Calderon yesterday, and we talked about the telecommunications industry and education and a number of things that are broadly important. But here in Mexico, 97 new universities opened over the last number of years. There are 90,000 new engineers entering the workforce every year, more than many other countries around the world. The result of that is that the Mexican economy and the culture, the degree of innovation is absolutely going to change because that many engineers entering the workforce, I'm an engineer so I can say this, but it'll be magical. It'll be so impactful on the economy. So we look to Mexico as a market, as a source of innovation. We have manufacturing facilities here, the whole range of things. So it's a very exciting and dynamic place for us to interact.
Everybody knows that President Calderon relies on his BlackBerry. How are you going to overcome that?
He's a consumer like everybody else. So I asked him specifically what device he uses. We talked about that, and of course the challenge was when I visit him next, I want to make sure that that's a Nokia device. So we're going to work hard to meet his needs.
As a CEO of a large corporation, how do you see the world economy?
So it's an interesting question. There's clearly some areas of the world that are in a challenging spot economically. Europe is clearly going through its challenges and questions right now. The United States faces challenges. But at the same time, Nokia is in the privileged position of having a lot of its business in the fast-growing economies. Mexico is an example, Brazil, China, India, even Russia. We have a tremendous exposure to those economies as well. So as the world has areas of strength and weakness, because we're a global company, we tend to reflect that.
And finally, Stephen, if you have a consumer in front of you choosing for Christmas for any gift, a device, how would you, the CEO of Nokia, would convince anyone to choose your product?
The most important thing I would do is to take a Nokia Lumia product or an Asha product, put it into the hands of the person, let them experience it, explain a few of the basic elements of that device.
Stephen, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Y gracias a usted también por acompañarme en esta ocasión aquí en Cubículo Estratégico. Yo le espero en la próxima. Hasta entonces.